Let's talk about Donald Trump and Bill Barr's complete and utter weaponization of the criminal justice system. Why? Because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So we now know Donald Trump has commuted Roger Stone's sentence, reduced it from 40 months in prison down to not one single minute in prison. That is a deeply corrupt and, I would argue, criminal act by Donald Trump. But here's what I want to do. Let's compare how Donald Trump and Bill Barr treated Roger Stone with how Donald Trump and Bill Barr are treating Michael Cohen. Let's look at the parallels. And I suggest we can conclude that every corrupt act, every perversion of the criminal justice system or the rule of law by Donald Trump and Bill Barr are designed to accomplish one thing, and that is protect Donald Trump and hide from the American people information and evidence of Trump's crimes, abuses, and corruption. First of all, Roger Stone. It is really unbelievable that Roger Stone on July 10th gave an interview to a journalist named Howard Fineman before his sentence was commuted. And here's what he said. He said, "Donald Trump, I did not flip on you." The word he used was turn. I did not turn on you. There was great pressure on me, and it would have been much easier if I had, but I didn't turn on you. What do I want? I want you to commute my sentence. Roger Stone actually said, "I don't want a pardon. I want you to commute my sentence because I didn't turn on you." Inferentially, the implication is I could still turn on you. Give me a commutation. Hours later, Donald Trump dutifully commutes Roger Stone's sentence so he doesn't have to report to prison. I mean, that is bribery, it's extortion, it's blackmail, it's deeply corrupt. And I would suggest that the Biden administration in January will have to investigate, and I think there will be strong arguments in favor of Biden revoking or rescinding Roger Stone's sentence commutation. But right now, let's look at that and compare it to what Donald Trump and Bill Barr are doing to Michael Cohen. So Michael Cohen, if you'll remember, was Donald Trump's lawyer, fixer, figurative thumb breaker, and he went to prison. Why? Well, in part, it was because he was in a conspiracy with Donald Trump to violate campaign finance laws, and together they committed those federal felony crimes. Together they paid off playmates and porn stars to try to hide from the American voter deeply damaging information that would have hurt Donald Trump's chances of being elected in 2016. Michael Cohen pled guilty to it, and he went to prison for it. Now, Michael Cohen just a few weeks ago was released early, like 18 months before his sentence was set to expire, because of the coronavirus outbreak in our federal prisons, we were told. So the Bureau of Prisons released many inmates, trying to reduce the prison population and sort of protect the health of the inmates. They released a number of inmates to home detention. Michael Cohen was one of those inmates. Now, keep in mind that the Bureau of Prisons is part of the Department of Justice under the control of Bill Barr. So before these inmates are released into home detention to continue to serve their sentence at home, they are required to sign an agreement, and they agree to abide by all kinds of conditions set by the Bureau of Prisons, and that only makes sense. So what are some of those conditions? Ordinarily, they have to agree, well, not to leave their home in violation of their home detention rules and regulations, not commit new offenses, not have, guns in their home or drugs in their home, all sorts of standard conditions. Now, let's look at the conditions that the Bureau of Prisons tried to set for Michael Cohen. And let's look at it against the backdrop of how Donald Trump is locked in this battle with his niece Mary Trump to try to stop a book from being released that is deeply critical of Donald Trump. It shows how horrendous he is in the family setting. He's locked in a battle with his former national security advisor, John Bolton, who continues to try to release a book that is deeply critical of Donald Trump's performance as president. It shows that he's incompetent. It shows that he's unfit. It shows that he's a danger to our national security. So he's locked in these battles, trying to stop people from publishing books, from speaking out truthfully about who he is, Donald Trump. So on July 9, just a few days ago, Michael Cohen's on home detention. Federal officials call for a meeting with Michael Cohen and his lawyer. And so they arrive at the meeting, and here is what those federal officials try to get Michael Cohen to sign as additional conditions of his home release. And mind you, there were reports that Michael Cohen was in the final stages of writing a book about who? Donald Trump. Here are some of the conditions that they are now trying to make Michael Cohen agree to if he wants to stay at home. He agrees to, among other things, no engagement of any kind with the media, including print, TV, film, books, or any other form of media/news. Prohibition from all social media platforms. No posting on social media, and a requirement that you communicate with friends and family to exercise discretion in not posting on your behalf or posting any information about you. The purpose of this is to avoid glamorizing or bringing publicity to your status as a sentenced inmate serving a custodial term in the community. That's one of the terms one of the additional terms after his initial release that they are now trying to get Michael Cohen to agree to. Michael Cohen and his lawyers said, no, we have First Amendment rights to talk. Our family has a right to talk. I have a right to talk to media. I can work on a book. So they refused to sign these additional terms of that would limit Michael Cohen if he were to continue to serve his sentence in home detention. This is July 9th. Now, mind you, on that same day, they said, sit tight, Michael. On that same day, there's a memo issued. And here's where it gets really ugly. This memo, dated July 9, 2020, directed to the U.S. Marshal Service from a guy named Patrick McFarland, residential reentry manager in Brooklyn, New York. It says, quote, on July 9, the very day they're having this meeting with Michael Cohen, inmate Michael Cohen failed to agree to the terms of federal location monitoring for SDNY U.S. probation. The BOP, the Bureau of Prisons, that would be Bill Barr's Bureau of Prisons, is requesting remand for failure to comply. Remand means go back to prison. We are therefore requesting his inmate transfer to a secure institution. As inmate Cohen is a sentenced federal prisoner, I hereby authorize the United States Marshal Service to remand her, that's what it says, at the Metropolitan Detention Center, Brooklyn, New York, pending further designation. So lock her up. Probably a typo, but you would think you would take a little bit of care in proofreading something that says put this person on home detention back into federal prison because they won't sign something saying they won't talk to the media, write a book, and their family won't talk to anybody about them because we're concerned they might glamorize the conditions of their home detention. Folks, how foolish do they think we are? This is obviously something designed to keep Michael Cohen's mouth shut. Just like the commutation of Roger Stone was designed to keep Roger Stone's mouth shut. And this one is ugly. This is using the imprisonment of Michael Cohen to try to keep him from saying things critical of the president. This is a dramatic abuse and perversion of the criminal justice system and the rule of law, again, by Donald Trump and Bill Barr. Now, here's one thing I want to say in fairness. When you're putting somebody in home detention, you can require them to waive certain rights, including constitutional rights. For example, you can say you give up your Fourth Amendment right against unreasonable search and seizure. Why? Because if you're serving your sentence in your house, then federal authorities have a right to come in anytime and inspect your house and make sure you don't have guns and drugs and items that would otherwise violate the conditions of your pretrial release. So I want to be fair to the system, and I worked with lots of great Bureau of Prisons, employees and officials over the years. But this is not that. This is not a standard condition designed to make sure somebody is safely and securely serving the rest of their sentence in home detention. This is an abuse designed to shut Michael Cohen up so he can't continue to say things critical of Donald Trump. Again, it's a deeply disturbing abuse of the rule of law and of the criminal justice system. And, I'll ask one question. How safe do you think Michael Cohen feels now that he is back in Bill Barr's Bureau of Prisons? Folks, we've got to address this runaway crime, corruption, and abuse by Donald Trump and Bill Barr. The way we do it is to come out in November in numbers too big to rig. Too big to rig. And we will. And justice will come. Please stay safe, folks. I look forward to talking with you all tomorrow.